Hello, everyone. Oh, I gotta change this number. I'm sorry, everyone. This terrible disgrace that this 43 is. Oh, it's 44 now. Hello, we are about to get started. Nobshin will be here. Don't you worry, your sweethearts. He's just trying to find his microphone. Going through boxes to find it, apparently. I wonder what we should berate him and pressure him into sending us like a setup picture. We need to know what the new digs look like. He tweeted like pictures of boxes. I don't know if either of you guys saw this. I know Scott didn't. He doesn't look at Twitter.
Nope. I don't look at Twitter either. So
he tweeted pictures of boxes and a bed like folded up, but it wasn't enough detail for me. Where is the gaming chair? Where does that go?
Yeah, I should send you an updated picture of my stuff because I actually have like some art up on the walls.
Yeah, nice. Please do. Scott, have you invested in the gaming chair?
Not particularly.
Yeah, I would.
I mean, so here's the thing. You guys know what my chair looks like, right?
It's like a normal office chair, right?
No. Okay, so one, quote unquote normal office chairs are the real gaming chairs. The quote unquote racers, most of them aren't good.
Okay.
So the better ones are generally office chairs.
Yeah, I would have gone with an office chair, but the one that I got was cheaper.
Yeah, save some money. That's probably what I would have done too. I don't know. I want one of the ones where it's got like the orbs on the side. I don't know what I'm trying to describe right now. Like it's full. You know in Ready Player One. Later on, when he his house gets exploded by the evil.
Didn't see it.
Well, this is in the book. Really, it doesn't happen this year. He gets
didn't read it.
He gets this gaming setup that's he sinks into a thing and it absorbs his whole body. That's what I want.
Sounds pretty sick.
I've been getting a lot of neck pain recently playing games, and I gotta maybe.
What's your gamer position?
I mean, I'm either sitting up like I am now, leaning back a little bit,
light gunch,
or I'm laying down, and that's when the neck pain comes. It's probably because I'm leaning to the right to look at the TV. It's fucking me up.
Yeah, the laying down is, but with what I can gather, your TV is almost in front of the couch, but not quite.
It's I got 5 feet between me and my TV.
No, I mean facing.
Yeah, it's facing.
Head swivel. It's not perfect.
Well, it's at a little bit of an angle, so it's easier on my neck.
Up or down, or left or right?
Left or right. Although up or down would be nice. I wonder if there's a way if I could.
So
down.
the left and right. If it's not head on, then that is where it sort of comes up. Because I run into this all the time.
Yeah.
Really? Because it's when you set up the dual screen. It's if the TV isn't head on, you're sitting funny.
Yeah.
Right. So if you have your chair and you're facing directly towards where it is, and it's not directly in front of you, you are compensating in some sort for that.
Yeah. I think when I'm sitting up, it's probably okay, but yeah, when I'm laying down, it's fucking me up.
So yeah, when you're sitting up, the left to right is probably going to be the one that is not messing with you that much.
Yeah.
But if it's not right when you're sitting down, and that sideways still gets you, that is when you're going to be constantly using your muscles to compensate.
Got it. I gotta do more stretches. All right, we can talk about video games now. I'll stop.
I mean, what fucks me up is that I'm all over the place in my current quote-unquote gamer chair, which is eraser type chair. It's
Nice.
a bucket seat. You're allowed to sit in this one way and one way only.
Yeah.
So I can't move around. And
Yeah, I
that
don't like
messes
that.
that messes me up more than my incorrect posture.
Yeah. I like that.
Because while my posture is
Space.
incorrect almost all of the time, it is always incorrect in a different way.
Yeah.
So when I do not get the chance to quote unquote when I do not get the chance to move around, my incorrect posture fucks me up
Yeah.
real bad.
I feel that.
When I do get the chance to move around, it's not that bad. So sometimes I just don't use the chair. I don't have a standing desk. I just don't use the chair,
Do you stand?
and that works out better for me. No, kneel.
Okay.
I don't have a standing desk.
Love the
but
idea.
Sometimes it's
Love the idea of Scott kneeling at his desk. I just want to throw it out.
sometimes it's just one knee on the chair and the chair is sideways.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not dealing with it right
That
now.
makes sense.
And it's sometimes the chair is backwards, and I'm not gonna lie, it looks really goofy. It's really goofy.
Yeah.
But in the other chair that I had, and why I had to get rid of it, is that the lumbar support did not fit my back. It was built in unmovable.
Yeah.
So no matter what I did, there was no way that I could sit for any period of time in the quote unquote correct posture. There was always going to be strain somewhere. That's just how the chair was laid out. It was built for people who had a longer torso than I have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you though. I get squirrely. Like, you got to move around. You got to change your position every now and again.
Yeah, it's really weird because I looked at a bunch of chairs, and a lot of the setups go off by regular height. But I have the legs of somebody who's 6 foot and the torso of somebody who's 5 foot. Sorry. So the legs of somebody who's 6'5".
Yeah. You're just all legs.
Mostly.
Most legs. That's great. I never thought of you in this way, Scott, but you're really fucking with my perceptions right now. Man.
I think when you wear normal clothes, it's not something that you think about, but
Yeah.
when you put a belt on, it's like, hold on, what the fuck? Why is your belt all the way? Oh, hold on a second. Hold on.
I appreciate this perspective, though.
But yeah, so this is why the racer chair is much better. Is because it's anything that has a flat surface allows me to correct my posture on my own.
Yeah.
Anything that says, oh, we have built-in lumbar support. If it's not adjustable, it's not going to be right, and it's going to be worse.
We gotta ask Nam shit about his gaming chair. I'm sick of all the fucking lies. That's where this started. That's where this ends. All right, I'm gonna start the podcast, and then and Navisha just texts us Windows update with a fucking skull emoji. Of course. So he'll probably be here in 20 to 30 minutes, optimistically. All right. God, I'm sorry. Let me just take this PSP, this pre-show puff.
You mean PlayStation Portable?
Yeah, let me watch Spider-Man on UMD.
Fuck yeah.
That's what my PSP came with, was the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man. I watched it a few times on the school bus, I'll tell you what. All right. It is Sunday, October 11th, 2020, and you are listening to the Irrational Passions podcast. I am Alex O'Neill, your host for this podcast party. And we're all just party members in the party. And joining me in this party, Mr. Scott Cuthier.
Hello.
And Mr. Tony Horvath.
What's up, gamers?
Joining us hopefully soon, Mr. Brian Albishan Jackson. He promised he would be here, but he had to find his microphone, and then he is currently going through a Windows update. So, presumably after that, we can guilt him into coming on and talking about his new house and moving and all that. But besides that, we got a very good podcast. I'm excited. It has been over a week now since I had my wisdom teeth taken out, and maybe it's all the drugs, but I'm starting to not hurt as much anymore. And I'm ready to talk about video games. So, real quick before we break into any video game talk, just a couple little bits of housekeeping I want to throw out there. Over on irrationalpassions.com, Quinn sat down with Jess from Uppercuts, formerly of Irrational Passions, and also he had another guest on it. Yeah, Ash Parrish from Kotaku. They talked about Hades, which we talked about a lot last week, and they ranked the gods. I don't know if they ranked them by their bods, but I really hope they did, just for the alliteration's sake. But at the very least, that was another IP Presents. I'm all about Hades, and then we had a couple more viewpoints happen. We got some video reviews coming up soon from Mike as well. I'm very excited about a video review of No Straight Roads, which was... It's an indie game developed with many previous Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts developers. It's really cool. It came out a couple months ago. It came out at the end of August, I think. But video review for that soon.
Yep, I have heard about that. Not particularly interested in it.
Yeah, it's definitely...
About it.
It is definitely not like of a Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts style, but I played a little bit of it at PAX East, and the Kingdom Hearts combat designer was definitely working on the combat design of that game, and it feels good and it's fun to play. But yeah, it seems really cool. So there's a video review that should be out by the time you hear this podcast, or by the time it's out in audio form. But that's it. That's the only housekeeping I got. Let's talk about some video games. Tony, man, video games. What you been playing?
Sure. So I played some Genshin Impact.
Yeah. Do we have an update on Genshin Impact? Have feelings, thoughts evolved, changed?
So last time we spoke, I had just started a second account.
Yeah. How many more
Now
accounts?
I say one.
Okay.
Now a week later, my second account is ranked 36.
Wow.
Which is very high. Like, people who've been playing from day one and maximum refreshing their stamina every day, the entire time, and done a bunch, like 12 hours of grinding per day, are hitting like rank 40. So 36 is pretty high, and I'm cool with that. But I've really slowed down on it.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot left to do on my second account. So right now I'm basically, and I just hit 35 the other day, which is where a big level up step for all of your units pops up. So really my whole gameplay loop right now is log in, do the dailies, and then spend my energy on 3 bosses.
Yeah.
Because I need to kill like 25 more bosses to fully evolve all of my 8 units that I use for Spiral, which is the end game dungeon. So basically the loop is, log in, do dailies, kill 3 bosses, come back at the end of the day, do 2 more bosses, and then go to, then that's it for the day. Until a content patch comes out. That's kind of where it's going to be.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of moving into playing other games again.
That's good.
But yeah, I mean, when more content comes out for Genshin, it'll still be fun.
So the next area is going to come out in December. Does that sound right?
Something, that's what I've heard.
Later. No, it's later. So
it may be even later though.
No, it's later. So what they said themselves is their major patches will come roughly every 6 weeks. Roughly. So the next major patch that's coming, it's basically an event patch that'll probably add a bunch more. I want to say
quests and stuff.
This particular part is a pure speculation, but I want to say 2 to 3 hours of straight new content.
Yeah.
Not a new area, but about that. And it's just updates, more characters, stuff like that.
Yeah, changing like the character banner stuff.
The next 6 months after that, sorry, not 6 months. The next
6 weeks.
6 weeks after that is going to be another area unfolding.
Okay, so 12 weeks. So it'd be like January.
And this particular area is smaller than Mondstadt.
Yeah, it's the
I don't know. I don't know any sort of hourage or what to put on that.
yeah, it's like the
Um,
mountain, Spine Frost
mhm.
Mountain or whatever.
Yep. Yeah. So it's the frost area. So what the pattern that's being established here is that roughly every 12 months you're going to get a new zone
12
until
weeks.
this map. 12 weeks. Every 12 weeks you're going to get, or 4 months, 3 months.
3 months, yeah.
Roughly every 3 months you're going to get a new zone.
That's cool though. That would be January from now, or from the end of September or so. That's not bad.
So there's a good chance that that cycle will end up breaking,
Sure.
but for the next two zones, we know that's the case. Because
Cool.
1.1 is with an event update because they announced it. 1.2 is
Zone 3.
is Zone 3, and then 1.3 is another event update.
Yeah.
And those three updates aren't speculation. That is, they've come out with a post saying that that's the current plan,
Okay.
and they don't have a plan, announced plan for 1.4 and so on. But
Yeah.
I'm going to assume, based off that pattern, 1.4 is probably going to be another zone.
Yeah, I sat down just before were recording this today on Sunday. I sat down and with Mike Burgess, and we talked for like an hour and recorded viewpoints for Genshin Impact. Pointed as many people as I could through that to last week's episode of the podcast, where you guys kind of really, I feel like, broke it down in a really good way. But yeah, we talked a little bit about the kind of rollout plan for the new areas and stuff. It's still in line with what you're saying, Scott. It's just we weren't sure exactly on when the new areas would be coming out, but I think it's cool. It's exciting.
Yeah, we'll see if they maintain that when more and more people are reaching the point where there is no more in-game content to do,
Yeah.
Right.
and they start to see their audience decline.
Yeah.
So we'll see, because a lot of people who have picked up the game are not people that are used to the development cycle for a gacha game, which is to say they're not used to constantly being fucked over by the devs.
Yeah.
Which is what happens and is accepted as the normal in every gacha game that ever comes out. So we'll see, because they have done some pretty good stuff as far as updates are concerned. Like, they have shown a lot more dedication to faithfully translating the game and localizing it than most other games have. So we'll see what they do. But there are a couple of issues that people have with the game that become a lot more apparent once you're through most of the baked in content. That are really kind of turning a lot of people away from it at this point once they get to that point. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we can just go ahead and flat out say it. I'm pretty sure we probably covered it last round, but we didn't bring up that it probably brought attention, and it's effectively the resin system.
Well, there's a couple of things. The resin system is one of the standouts. It's the stamina system.
Mm-hmm.
Once you run out of like in-world content to do, everything that you do, even the new event that's coming out, is gated by your daily resin refills, which is the rate of 1 stamina per 8 minutes, which is really long for a gacha game. And your cap is 120, so it fills in about 14 hours, which means that you have to log in twice per day or you lose resin overnight. The second, if you just like log in halfway through the day.
Essentially, if you go to bed then go to work, and that span is 16 hours, coming home,
you lost
which
resin.
will probably you're losing resin as you're walking home.
Man, that is. I do not like that. I don't like how that makes me feel. I'll be honest with you boys.
It's that, and then you think about like 1 stamina per 8 minutes. A boss costs 40 stamina to collect the rewards from. A dungeon costs 20 stamina to collect the rewards from. So for 16 hours or whatever, 14 hours of recharge, you get to do 3 bosses.
Yeah.
Which they take about 2 to 4 minutes for each one. Or you get to do 6 domains, which take like 2 to 4 minutes to do each.
So is it only when you're doing like these bosses or events that you have a timer in the corner telling you how much time you have left?
No, that does happen in certain challenges and areas of the game, but I'm just saying, like, that's how much time it takes as a player to do that. that event.
Yeah.
So how long did it take to get back 40 stamina? You burn that whole amount of time in 3 minutes. So
Yeah.
you're only getting 3 minutes of gameplay out of waiting that long, which is why people are like trying to get the resin system, either like a faster recharge or just relaxing the types of things that cost resin or the cost of those things.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like even then, that's not exactly the problem, because if you just take a look at the way that it's balanced, the way it's balanced as far as what you get versus what you put in versus what you need, I'm all things considered, if I just remove the 5 stars from my team, I could get everybody to level roughly 40 and get them ascended, right? And I would complete all the story-driven content in the game with relatively low issue. Now,
I mean,
I have the most, and then it's the only thing left is pushing your characters to max to push further in the spiral abyss. But then again, as far as the need or something like that to go, you don't even need to push your characters to max to reach the end of that current content.
You do. You absolutely do. There's no possible way you beat Abyss without max characters. And you also need meta characters to beat Abyss. Once you pass floor 7, it scales up in difficulty so greatly that even people who are like full whaling the game, like have got every single character, spent max daily resets every day, and are like AR 40 plus with max 5-star artifacts, still have trouble with it. So it's definitely like the difficulty between in the world is nothing compared to Spiral Abyss.
I wonder how many people who are checking this game out are going to engage with that content, though.
I feel like most people who check it out that know that it's there, which the game I think it introduces it to you at some point.
Okay.
We'll probably get through like the first 4 or 5 floors.
Okay.
And then
virtually
get
no
back
problem
to
with those first 4 or 5 floors.
The first 4 or 5 are super easy.
Okay. But
however,
it gets crazy.
There are like 16 floors.
Every floor roughly goes up about 10 levels.
Okay. And once you pass 4 or 5, you need 2 full teams to beat them.
And are you like switching between the teams, or are you...
Basically you there are enemies, and you can look at them before the fight, so you'll see what you're gonna face in each half. And then you assign a team for the first half and a team for the second half. You have a total time or some objective. Most of the time it's time in which you need to clear the whole floor. You go in with your first half team first, fight, and once you win, you immediately switch to your second half team and go again. And that happens for 3 chambers in 1 floor. Between each chamber, your team does not heal or anything. So you have to be able to sustain 2 full teams for 3 challenges, of which each challenge has a challenge for each of your 2 teams.
Yeah.
And you're timed, and both teams share the same timer.
Right.
Jeez. Okay.
Though there are some where it's like defend an objective.
Yeah.
So time is not an issue in those kinds, but and then they have very specific requirements. Like you'll see what the enemies are before you go in, and you'll need to build teams that can counter like shields or stuff like that the enemies have, because the enemy's level scales way faster than your team's level does. So once you get into those high level things, you're fighting like a level 90 enemies with a maximum level 70 character.
Yeah.
Which is a huge difference. So at that point, you need to build very specific units out of the like 20 units that are in the game to counter these things that are the enemies are. So you have to have all the units basically, or at least very specific ones in order to progress. But that's like super endgame stuff.
Right. So then that's the whole thing. That's super endgame stuff. And your current, I'll say, soft cap, at this point, it's roughly around 35.
Yeah.
There's an extreme slowdown around 30, but your dailies constantly push that forward because they give you a good chunk of experience on the way through. Your common chests, or at the very least, as far as we know, common chests reset at the end of the week. So
it's uncertain how they respawn, but they do sometimes, occasionally.
Okay, that sounds right.
Though then when you think about it, right, from level 35 to 36, you need 8,000 adventure experience. A common chest is worth 20.
Jesus.
So you and
So
the funny part is like all of those common chests have nothing of value in them to
Yeah.
you. So you're basically turned into a glorified garbage collector
Yeah.
for 20 experience a pop
It's like running
to
and
try and get
it makes me think of like getting resources on the moon in Destiny 1.
yeah.
Like going to each of all the chests and stuff.
In any case, that's what the drive is to progress your team past that.
Right.
But what I was getting at with the whole resin thing is that people want to play the game. And once they've done that and kind of gone through all the story quests and they've collected the majority of the events and stuff on the map, their gameplay is actually limited by the stamina system that until that point was kind of irrelevant
Yeah.
because you had so much stuff to do other than just things that cost energy. Once you are done with those other things, all that you can do in the entire game of value costs at
is to
least
progress
20
the
stamina.
characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So out of that 14 hours that you spent getting 120 energy, you bought yourself less than an hour of gameplay.
yeah, and it just seems like it seems like the game doesn't necessarily prepare you for that change.
Definitely not. I think the game expects that you go a lot slower, but that's just not the reality of a gacha game. People will grind it because they can.
Yeah, because they want to.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
And
so that's one of the
better
main
you make
issues.
the game, the harder they're gonna grind it.
Yeah, and
And
like
they score pretty well.
I mean that's
And, like, that time constraint is the core issue with the whole thing, because the balance really isn't. You're not supposed to be able to get to the end of the spiral abyss yet. All
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
considered,
But people are
with
gonna
the
do
tall
it.
cap at 30, you can only ascend and you can only get to a certain level. So like the highest level you can technically reach that's programmed into the game is not currently set up by the content that's out yet.
Yeah. So because they don't
And
expect people to get there or grind their
when
way
you
there.
when you pace the resin across what you're supposed to be able to do based on that level or what's roughly acceptable, getting to the spiral abyss that has level 70 enemies, which is just say that's the current cap. Like once you're there, it's really not that hard.
Yeah. It's good to know what the kind of back half of it is like, because I feel like the last week we got very much of like that front of the game experience and what it's like and what it's like to get into it, and it's very interesting to hear like about the end game and stuff.
Sure.
How different it is.
Yeah, that whole resin thing is like half the conversation when it comes to the problem people has with the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a bit more of it's only the people who are in the end game that have that issue. But there's another half that is every player that plays the game, especially those who are not used to gacha systems.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of even more vocally from people who are, which is that the actual gacha system in the game in general is the most stingy, most expensive, lowest rate gacha in almost any game ever.
Damn.
It costs $25 for a 10 pull once you have exhausted all of the like double gems first time bonuses from the shop, which is really, really expensive.
Yeah,
for
it's like saying a guaranteed character is $25.
Well, a guaranteed 4-star is $25.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you're going to get a character.
Doesn't even
And
No.
to be fair, at the point that you're at, is the character is what you want. To the point where most people hit when they actually reach the end of the story, a good weapon pull is roughly what they want.
Yeah. It's so expensive.
Right, it's really expensive, and on top of that, there is only one gacha game in history that has had a lower rate for SSRs than this game.
Yeah.
Which I don't remember what game it is, but this game is a 0.6% rate for an SSR. There's only one other game, and it's a 0.5% rate for an SSR. Oh, it's Raid Shadow Legends.
Oh fuck! Of course,
the
it's
lowest
Raid
one.
Shadow
Yeah.
Legends. That's the most scummy game.
Yeah, there's a post that's been circulating in like circles talking about Genshin recently from a year ago, where someone had compiled a list of all popular gachas and their pull rates, and they range anywhere from a 10%, which is in like Dokkan Battle,
Mm-hmm.
Dragon Ball Z, down to that 0.5, and that will be the only game on the list lower than Genshin Impact. Most popular games like Puzzle Dragons, Azure Lane, and Arc Knights and stuff like that range between 5% and 8%. Like Azure Lane has a really comfortable SSR pull rate, same as Puzzle and Dragons at 7%, which is kind of taken to be a pretty generous rate.
Yeah, lucky
most
number 7.
gachas, like most, especially like more popular recent ones, like Arc Knights or Hero Kantare, are like a 5% SSR pull rate. So you can kind of get an idea from that. And the funny thing is, like, Azure Lane just introduced a new character to their gacha that was pullable during an event, which is higher than an SSR. So if you think of like that 7% even as a non-SSR, because it's not even the highest possible of rarity that you could pull anymore, even though it was for the first 2 years of the game's existence, their new 6-star, like ultra rare unit that you could pull from the gacha was a 1.2%. So still, more almost double Genshin Impact's rate on an SSR. So that's really, really bad, right? So you can call, and the thing is, like, that at a rate of 0.6, it is, by the statistics, unlikely that you will pull a 5-star before you hit pity, which their pity system is you get after you're on your 90th pull.
90,
if you have not pulled an SSR, you get an SSR. But if you think about how many 90 pulls would cost, if it's $25 for a 10 pull,
yeah, that's a lot of money.
It's very expensive. You can spend $200 to guarantee that yourself that you're getting a 5-star.
Yeah.
So it's super, super expensive. And even at that point, and you're not necessarily guaranteed a character based on what banner you're pulling on. Even though in some cases that's what you want, is to get a weapon, but really most people just want to get a character, right?
Yeah.
So, and then their event banner, right, where you get the Venti is the one who's available right now. There's a 50% chance when you hit that 5-star that you get Venti. If you don't get Venti, you're guaranteed to get him next time, which is still 180 pulls at $25 for a 10 pull.
Yeah, that's
so it's very expensive and very unforgiving, which is a huge problem for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's a fair problem.
So, it's definitely worth bringing to light those statistics.
No, I appreciate you have all this information. It sounds like you did a lot of research on this.
I've just been involved in a lot of conversation when it comes to this game. So all of this is just literally off the top of my head.
I know, but I trust you. This is stuff that you're very good at remembering, all these kinds of specifics. So,
yeah.
I mean, at the same time, when you go into your it's required by law by a lot of countries that the games do this now, but when you go into your wishing, you can hit details and it's going to tell you how it works.
Yeah, the statistics and stuff. And I know in China,
the only things that are in question is like what we told you about last time for the
pity stuff.
Yeah. So the 1 wish versus 10 wish. What we told you last time wasn't exactly true.
Yeah, the pull one at a time is better.
Yeah, they came out and they came out and they said, no, that's not exactly how it works. It's and I think it's still,
which is funny because the original information that was used to create that conclusion was from the devs themselves. So they just kind of backpedaled on their own thing. And we're like, no, actually,
it must have changed AM.
Well, I don't know if anything changed. I think maybe one person who provided information just maybe was wrong.
Was wrong, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so even like regardless of if they tell you or not, like it's still the shittiest one, pretty much.
Right.
Because even Raid Shadow Legends, I think their pulls are a lot cheaper. $25 is kind of unheard of for a 10 pull.
Yeah.
In a gacha game.
Do you think it's part of like them trying to go with that price point is just because it is what it is? It's like a full 3D.
No, it's a money grab.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, like, there's definitely some merit to the fact that they are beautiful 3D models. All the characters and the world and all that stuff. There's a lot of work put into it.
Yeah, this is a big game.
If you to sell random pulls at something and have it be that you get a chance for something, one of the 5-star characters at $250 or whatever, is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy
to me at least. So, if you were on the fence about spending money in Genshin Impact, now you're a lot more informed on whether or not that money is worth spending. Because
jump over to the side of not.
Yeah,
if you think $100 is really expensive for a mobile game, you should not spend a single dollar on Genshin Impact.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get a lot out of your $100. I'll tell you that, unless you're really lucky. So
it's good to know.
Those are the two main things that are kind of the problems with Genshin Impact right now. But the game is free. It can be played completely with free to play units, except for the highest tier of content. And I think that you'll have a great time playing through it for completely free. and
Yeah.
doing whatever content is available. So it's definitely worth playing. There's no way to say that it's not worth trying out a game that's free.
Yeah, and I think the
but
trickle
I hope
stuff will
that
be good too.
anyone listening to this is more informed when it comes to what you're spending your money on if you choose to.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think that's good info. It's good to know. I'm curious when like new actual areas and content come out, what actual changes will happen to that game over time.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely. I'm still playing it daily.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Sounds
but-
like both of you are.
They did in that same post say that they're looking for more ways to do co-op instead of what they have now, which is
That's cool.
you each bring 2 characters to the table.
Yeah, co-op's pretty useless right now.
Yeah, that would be
Right.
that would be nice.
So
Yeah.
they did say that. Nothing else too substantial though.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. At least that's something to go off of.
Mm-hmm. There have been a lot of fake leaks over the past week too, so be careful what you believe on the
About
internet.
Genshin Impact, yeah.
Yeah, because there've been everything except for like some stuff that came out yesterday was just all completely off base.
Yep.
That's great.
So
What else have you been playing, Tony? You said you've been playing other
yeah,
stuff.
so especially over the past couple days, as I've kind of reached that point in Genshin where I didn't need to devote a lot of time to it, because I definitely spent the first half of the week, grinding common chests for 20 experience a pop, like I said, for like 8 to 12 hours a day.
Nice.
And once I hit 35, which was my goal, I stopped doing that. And I've been playing. I played some Among Us.
Nice.
On stream. That was pretty fun. I'm still really fucking good at that game, which is pretty sick.
Terrifying.
But I've done that. Scott and I have started a Divinity 2 Original Sin playthrough.
Ooh.
Prompted by Baldur's Gate 3 dropping into early access earlier this week.
Yeah.
I watched a bit of it from some streamers that I like consuming content from, and the kind of big takeaway, at least for me, and which really confirmed my suspicions going in, was that the game is not ready.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. I think that even the developers say, hey, the game is not done, and that game looks like it'll be a whole lot of fun to play when it's done.
Yeah.
Until then, I saw the first couple hours of the game played by a couple of different people, both in co-op or solo, and it looks like it's going to be fun. It's just not ready yet, and I'm not interested in playing a game when it's buggy and you can only get to like level 4 or whatever, when I can wait and play a game that is done.
Yeah.
And
hopefully
I have
great.
trust in Larian Studios that they will do that, because this is exactly what they did with Divinity Original Sin.
Yeah, totally.
Original Sin 2. They dropped it into early access basically just like this, and now that game is one of the best games of all time in the CRPG genre, and is done. So I'm excited for when Baldur's Gate 3 gets to that point.
Yeah, it's just so cool that like, it's one of those like Cinderella stories of like these folks that like clearly loved Baldur's Gate, made their own kind of take on Baldur's Gate, and now they're making Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
And also just like that game looks so gorgeous.
Oh, it looks awesome. I mean, you
It's-
can watch like the opening cinematic. First of all, one, gross.
Yes.
Second of all, yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
And once you get, in the couple hours of gameplay that I've watched, people have gotten past that opening area.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get out of there, other than like the fact that all your party members seem to hate you immediately, which is not necessarily my jam, just having everyone immediately hate me. It seems like it'll be a cool game. The second environment's really chill.
Yeah.
And I did like what I saw of that. So anyway, I was talking to Scott the other day, and I was like, hey, I want to play Divinity. So he got the game, and we have started a playthrough, just playing with 2 people in the party. Both of us have the Lone Wolf talent,
Oh.
which basically rewards you for not having 4 party members by doubling the strength of your character.
Yeah.
For two characters. So we basically are both playing superhumans and still getting our asses kicked by almost every encounter, which is pretty sick.
Hold on. We get our asses kicked by encounters which overlevel us,
Yeah.
and you respect and you're like half built.
Yeah.
All right.
So-
it's turning around.
And our respec almost completely broke the synergy that we had before.
All I'm saying is that I'm not.
And like, listen, I'm sorry about last night.
No, so yeah, I mean, we for anyone who's played Divinity Originals Sin 2, we're at the point where we've left Fort Joy, but we're still on the island, and we're kind of going through that area. We've done most of the stuff in the forest right outside of Fort Joy, except we need to kill Radica, the poison witch lady, to get an item that she drops that allows us to combat shriekers. So we're in the middle of doing that fight, and we're Scott's playing a rogue, and I'm playing basically a berserker who does a bunch of damage at the cost of making himself more
what a
vulnerable.
role reversal for the two of you. I feel like it's usually the other way around, you know?
Well, originally I was playing a mage that was from a class mod that's like an astrologer, or not an astrologer. That's another one that we installed, but we're not using. It's like a sun and moon type thing.
Okay.
So he commands like a bunch of like fire and water magic that are moon and sun themed. The moon stuff does like a bunch of damage, water damage, and healing. The fire stuff does like damage over time and area effect kind of stuff. And so I would, cast healing and armor spells and stuff, and then damage over time stuff. Sometimes on Scott, who would then teleport into the enemies and do a bunch of damage while they burn, around him.
I'm playing a scoundrel, and I have several teleport abilities.
Nice.
Some of them due to the class mod. I forget which the other half is, but it's Umbral something. And basically what this does is I have an order form and I have a chaos form. So in the order form, for those types of abilities that are modded that way, they have one set of effects on one end and an entirely different set of effects on the other side. And the cooldown is not shared.
Huh.
Now, you have 2 turns before you can switch forms, but you can just go in one turn, do a massive burst of damage, switch forms at the end of the turn, and then have all of those cooldowns have been reset.
Yeah.
And then all of my non-versions of those skills that I have generally spends another turn allowing the other stuff to get back up. So there's a bit of a cycle to always be burning abilities.
Yeah,
it's
a cool loadout. I like it.
Right. And because I'm a rogue, I'm all about backstab damage.
Yeah.
I've got that,
sneak attack, man.
I would say so, yeah. Have you played Divinity Originals?
I played a little bit. I've not played a lot.
Do you know the Scoundrel class at all?
No, it doesn't sound familiar from what I played.
Okay. So that's one of the base classes, and they have a skill called Nimble Leap, which allows you it's a teleport.
Okay.
You jump from one side to another, so it's also affected by height. And so there's a different version of the skill that just does backstab damage.
Oof.
So it's Nimble Leap, but it does backstab damage.
I like it.
And then there's the flip side of this one, because that's the order form one. It's I run into somebody doing piercing damage. So I can run straight at somebody, and that can also be a backstab.
Well, now you guys gotta get your synergy back, though.
So the particular fight that we're stuck on is just a fight that's not good for 2 melee units.
Yeah.
I have to...
My class in general is like, I'm almost 3 times as tanky as Scott, in like magic, shield, armor, and HP.
Nice.
But my whole character survives by doing a bunch of damage, and I take points in the Necromancer subclass, which has a passive ability that makes you heal per damage dealt.
Ooh, yeah.
A percentage. So I can, if I am able to like unload my damage, heal like 250 hit points in a round with my attacks. But the problem is this current fight that we are fighting, most of the enemy. Well, first of all, Scott's job has been to jump around and killing these ranged bugs that shoot at us after we kill the main lady, and there are like 6 zombie guys that each have like 150 HP.
They're all ranged, by the way.
They all have ranged abilities, and their ranged ability applies a debuff called infested or diseased or something, which lowers your damage by 1%.
Right.
And your resistances. So while Scott's killing all these bugs, I'm being wailed out by like 6 undead guys for like 100 damage each per turn. and they're inflicting me with these stacks of disease, which lower my damage by up to 50%.
Which lowers your
means
healing.
which lowers my healing and my sustain while I'm literally sitting there tanking like 500, 600 damage a turn.
But wait, there's more.
Oh. This is a nightmare.
So if we don't one turn the witch lady, she can stun him, effectively making him unable to act for roughly 12 rounds of the enemy going.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Now-
if that happens, I'm basically like dead for sure because I can't handle 1200 damage.
Yeah.
Do enough damage to one turn her. But there's even more after that. When we kill one of the zombies, they drop a pool of a different type of debuff.
Diseased blood.
They drop diseased blood, which gives you a different type of debuff. I think it's somewhere around the curse. So whenever you were going to take something that take healing, that does damage instead. So once he gets surrounded by a bunch of guys and he kills one, he has to leave the area, which I can do that, but he can't.
Yeah.
And you cannot heal for that turn.
Yeah.
You have to wait till next turn when the thing clears to heal.
So as you can see, there has been some issues with this fight.
It's clever how like they really fucking took down your build though with this fight. Like,
yeah. I like it's kind of like a huge counter to the class that I enjoy.
It's a direct counter to the class that he chose, and he's like 75% of the way built back to where he was after the respec. I would say that's closer to it. He has better gear for sure.
Yeah, that's cool though. I'm excited to hear how you guys figure it out. What you'll have to do.
We did figure it out.
Oh.
Right?
Oh yeah.
We did figure it out. Like we won, except for I was standing in the pool of thing. I walked out. I forgot that I could not heal that turn. So instead of escaping the area so that they couldn't hit me that turn, because I have Lone Wolf and more action points than they do, I used a healing spell on myself.
And it hurt yourself?
And it killed me.
Oh my God.
We actually almost won the first time that we fought the encounter as well. But there was one enemy left that was ranged and could kill me, like 5 feet in front of me. And Scott was dead on the other side of the room. Everything else was dead. It was just me at like 50 hit points versus this one guy at like 30 hit points who was going to kill me with a ranged attack. But it was my turn. I could kill him. However, I found myself stuck in this corner up on the top ledge. By an NPC skeleton cat plus squirrel combo that has been following us around since the beginning of the game. The character's goal is to like follow us around because we keep them safe by like killing everything in front of us. So during a fight, it just fucks off to like a corner somewhere. And through these turns of this combat, I had like chased. Yeah, well, I had chased this mage lady up into a corner, and I was in a corner. I killed her, and then there's this one thing left attacking me, so I had no way of getting out of that corner because my any pathway out was blocked by this squirrel combo. So I just sat there, unable to move, unable to do anything, and died.
That's incredible.
So that was an interesting set of fights that we.
That's
we
like
went
the
through.
most like absolute Divinity chaos. I love it.
Yeah, definitely. I think that there's a skill that I could have had we had more gold before going in. It's like an axe throw that I may have been able to won if I had it, but I don't have all the spells from my character.
And it's like if I had smoke bomb, because I also lent him a little bit of money. It wasn't that much to buy his skills. Then there's other things that we could do to drop their accuracy, so they wouldn't be hitting us that much. And I think that smoke bomb is also one of those umbral skills that it says that it puts down a dark passage. I don't know what that means, but I'm assuming that it would be able to shift some enemies around to also burn up some action points on their part and also have us take less damage.
Yeah, but I think this is the closest I'll ever get Scott to playing D&D, so I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I love it.
You could
I do
probably
love it.
get me to play D&D.
Yeah, but could we get you to like role play? You know.
Not well, but I'd try.
All right.
So yeah,
I would have to play a character that didn't take everything too seriously because my memory would be severely hemorrhaged.
Yeah.
So a lot of what I would say if I were trying to be serious,
Yeah, you guys. Take notes.
I would just mess it up.
Wow.
Oh, you.
Yeah, we've been having a good time.
That's fun.
with Divinity.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun. I have been told that Fort Joy and the characters of which they're in do not matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
So anybody that we come across that we can get experience from pretty much dies.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like Scott even like tried to pickpocket a blacksmith who could have removed our source collars while I was trying to, barter with the person, and they caught Scott and we had to kill her. So I didn't get to buy the item. We killed the lady, and now our source collars didn't get removed.
So you're still wearing the collars?
Still looking for a way to get those off.
Great.
Yeah,
great.
Because Scott can't steal. So
I mean,
we had to kill her.
I've stolen from almost everybody there so far, whether they are alive or dead.
Yeah, it was a matter of time, caught up with you. It's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
Anything else?
Most people there are unable for me to pickpocket because I've already done it.
I've already done it. Have you been playing anything else, Tony?
On the show, that is a weird internet culture thing that I didn't know about until this week.
Sure.
So let's go on a quick ride. Do you guys know about VR chat?
Yes.
So I have been watching Moon play. What game was he playing before? He was playing Baldur's Gate 3 with a couple other Twitch streamers, Vigors, Surefour, and Soda Poppin'.
Mm-hmm.
That was like their four, and during the streams, those three, Vigors, Surefour, and Soda Poppin', are all like VR chat players. And so they were talking to Moon about it, and they got him to say like, I will try and go see what this VR chat thing is. As they were playing Baldur's Gate, then they eventually went to play Divinity as well, because Baldur's Gate is not done.
Yes.
But there's this weird like thing that is going on in VR chat recently that has kind of been the focus of all of this. Which, have you ever heard of a mute before?
Like a person that doesn't talk or something else?
Well, so, sure, but in the online sense of a mute.
No, not online.
Okay, so especially in VR chat, a mute by definition is someone who either cannot or chooses not to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So in VR chat, that just is an avatar who relies solely on movement or some other means
charades
to communicate and never speaks. There is this thing where that is apparently very new in VR chat, where some more popular VR chat, like regular people who talk and like even like if they're like Twitch streamers or something like that, will hire mutes to be their personal mute. Most of they're like male streamers, right, who are hiring these mutes that are all like basically like anime girls or whatever, who just do quirky shit. Mm-hmm. And the idea is that they will accompany them wherever they can while they're streaming and do cute shit for the chat. So they're cashing in on the simp market.
Oh my god!
By hiring these mutes who cannot speak to interact with the chat and just do quirky shit while they're on stream.
Mm-hmm.
So Soda Poppin' has had like a competition where people competed, and he picked the winner to be his personal mute. There's this, then so like they're like a bunch of people who have who are these streamers, then they all have these mutes. So Moon was like, I want one. How do I got to get in VR chat and get myself a personal mute, because it's like you're saying, like it's like a status symbol.
Yeah, Jesus.
To have this mute.
This is the weirdest thing I have ever heard described to me.
Yeah.
Tony.
Oh, I know.
It makes me a little uncomfortable, but it's also like, I mean, everyone's probably having fun. It's fine, probably.
Yeah. So like, and there's like,
but it's also just so weird, but also so I believe it, you know.
So there's this one Twitch streamer who streams mainly VR chat, whose handle is Rafflegator, and apparently he's been a very big personality in VR chat for many years, right? And he had created this map that's a bar, and run it through with this group of people for years and years, and he kind of came up with this idea, and he has two personal mutes that will just do whatever while he's streaming. So he's kind of the one who has kind of shepherded these streamers and everything into it, and like even Shroud has seen this on his stream, and they're like, Rafflegator hooked me up, I need a personal mute. Like XQC, I think, and a couple other like big streamers have done the same thing, like Mizkif as well, another one. So what they've done now is Moon has put out like a bounty for this one person that's in that circle to put together a mute tournament for him this coming Friday. So they're going to get a bunch of mutes together and have a competition with the winner beginning to become Moon's personal mute. And it's weird shit. It's just weird, And as someone who and I found this out like the next day, but Moon had this stream on Friday night where he went into VR chat for the first time and was kind of taken around to a bunch of these like more featured worlds and stuff by Rafflegator and like that group of people. Like there's a ton of people, other streamers like Seer and like Timac and a bunch of streamers who he knew like priority, like mostly from GTRP.
Mm-hmm.
All are in this stuff too. So
of course.
All the people we're going around and doing a bunch of stuff, and I was watching the stream and I was like, there's some cool stuff in VR chat, because like aside from this whole like weird like personal mute thing and all that, but just like
VR chat seems fun.
There's just cool shit in there, like people have done some really cool work with like making worlds that react to music and like really crazy visual effects, because you think about it, like people are in VR. So like seeing a music video come to life around you,
it's in 3D
with effects and all that stuff in 3D in VR, that seems like it'd be pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So the next day I was like, Scott, let's go check out VR chat. So we installed VR chat, which apparently I played for like 2 hours in 2017.
Oh yeah, I feel like I remember this.
Yeah, apparently I played for 2 hours. So we went around and we're trying like looking at avatars and stuff and trying to find music worlds. It didn't work out very well because obviously we had no one to show us where to go. So we didn't stay on there very, very long, but there's some weird stuff going on in VR chat, and it's very interesting to watch through a window.
How long until we lose you to the virtual world, Tony?
I mean,
you get that VR
headset with full body tracking is like $900. That's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
And wait, just VR chat for that? Fuck no.
No, I mean obviously not. There's other weird shit out there that I would want to.
I'll say after watching all of this stuff and finding it interesting, I would entertain the idea of going into VR, and checking it out.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I would entertain it to the tune of $900 for full body tracking.
Well,
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, Beat Saber's pretty fucking cool, guys.
Beat Saber is cool. Everybody loves it.
It's like it's the only thing it has, though. It's like the only thing it has.
Yeah, there aren't a lot of killer apps for VR quite yet.
Most of the ones that are quote unquote fun or quote unquote good are fun because you get a group of friends to pick it apart and call it shit.
Yeah, or talk over it, or just it turns out it's just you hanging out with your friends. That's fun.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, watching those streams, especially that one on Friday of Moon kind of going into it for the first time, it's just kind of like an in-person party.
Yeah, it's
with a
like
bunch of people.
It reminds me of like chat rooms and stuff, but in like obviously the virtual space, which is cool. Right. As an idea, I've always wanted that to be real. Yeah.
I think it's cool to see that, even though if you think about it, right, the experience that he has with VR chat will be very different than the experience that most people have. Yeah. Where he's immediately invited into an invite-only group full of a bunch of people who've been playing it for a really long time. Who are used to playing in invite-only lobbies where the crowd is a little bit more selected and stuff like that. So you don't have like the random, public lobby stuff of like, the racism and all that kind of stuff that can come out of those things.
True. Yeah.
So that more curated experience.
As I found out recently, saying the gamer word.
Racism, sexism, anything pretty much.
Right.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
That's a very good point too.
Well, it'd be interesting. I would not say no if someone were to say, hey, you want to try out this VR shit. But
you have to know that you can't compare it to something like what you got to see through someone else's eyes, right?
At least not without a significant amount of effort.
Yeah, that's
so.
Something.
But however, like through the window, like I said, of like watching streamers, and I have just out of curiosity watched a couple of VR chat streamers since then to see like what is it like when there's 2,000 people watching this game.
Yeah.
rather than 150,000 who are watching those 4 big streamers combined do this one thing.
Yeah, is there still a person who doesn't talk and waves and
Oh,
is
yeah.
cute?
Yeah, that's the crazy thing.
That there still is?
Regardless, without any of the streamers, that's still a thing.
That's crazy.
That's just like this. It's just like a culture thing, which is just so bizarre and something that no one would cover. Like no website would really ever want to talk about that. I've never heard anyone mention it before, which is why I thought it was so interesting.
I would love to read something about that, like the culture of mutes and VR chat.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like there's a whole like Wikipedia that has articles on each player, so you can see like their past contracts and their current partnerships and stuff like that. I watched as I was like clicking through streams the other day of these VR chat players. I watched a stream for like an hour that was a mute doing a stream where they just, if they want to talk to chat, they'll like in VR chat you can like pick up a pencil and you can write, or they can write with like their fingers. And the funny thing is like people when they're with like their partners, so their partner's chat is what they're seeing. The mute will like write backwards so that the chat can read it through like the VR chat camera.
Oh,
you can move around like an object. So they'll write backwards in front of them so that the people in the chat can read what they're saying. And most of them know like ASL.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more in depth than you think it's going to be. Like
really
just
crazy.
Like walking around and being quirky. Like,
especially if they're doing sign language and stuff.
They're also all in full body tracking. And so like some people who are like professional dancers will do that. I don't mean like professional adult dancers. I mean like professional dancers.
Yeah, like performers and stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they will do that in full body tracking.
That's so cool.
Just to do. So it's really interesting because it's such a commitment for these people.
Yeah, totally.
Rather than it just being like this weird, quirky internet thing, it's like an actual like realistically weird internet thing.
Yeah, it's a subculture thing.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see. So
yeah, totally. Thank you for.
Anyway, I wanted to tell you about that because
that
was an interesting shit.
Super fascinated to me as well.
Yeah, so you should watch Moon stream next Friday.
Yeah, maybe see
the mute competition.
All these people trying to be cute. Anything else, Danny?
No, that's it.
Scott, what about you? Anything we didn't cover?
No. This week for me was basically Genshin Impact and Divinity Originals. Other than that, I got a couple more rounds of Hades in.
Nice.
Beat the game one more time. But this particular time was just a little more story. Got to upgrade another weapon a little bit more. Okay, by another weapon, I put it back into the sword. I put it back into the aspect of this accurate sword.
Cool.
I probably shouldn't, but
hey, man, if that's your go-to weapon, do it.
No. How you get more upgrade materials?
You have to beat it with other weapons, right?
You have to beat it with other weapons.
But you can do the thing where you make everything harder, and then it resets, and you can play with your favorite weapon.
It doesn't reset infinitely.
All right. Well, if you did it all, then I don't know what to tell you, Scott. If you beat it like 12 times with the sword already,
if you funnel everything into one weapon, it's just going to make everything else that you would want to do or want to try that much harder.
Yeah, true.
Oh, one more thing I should point out, Alex, just while we're talking about VR chat, that I think you should have on your radar.
Sure.
You know who Arcadum is, right? I've talked about him before on the show.
It sounds familiar, yeah.
He's like basically the Twitch game master or dungeon master.
Okay.
He's the one who runs all like the streamer games for Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah,
Everybody plays in his world.
This.
Yeah, I've talked about him before. He actually has spent years developing and running a D&D campaign that takes place solely in VR chat, in worlds that are created by these artists that are in world locations in his game.
Whoa.
So like, people go into VR and role play their characters in the actual world.
That's really cool.
In VR chat. So he's really well known on VR chat because he's running this thing.
That's awesome.
And was one of the big ways that Moon was introduced to it because they're really good friends. So that's something that exists. I think it's I don't remember what exactly it's called. I don't remember, but they've got this whole crazy campaign that goes on solely in VR chat, but runs just like Dungeons and Dragons, as if you were on location.
That's super cool.
So yeah, there's some really cool shit. It's called Callus Row RP.
Take LARPing to the next level.
Yeah, pretty much. I've seen like a couple like clips of people going through those worlds, and it's cool. There's some cool stuff going on out there.
Is that a wild Brian Nobishin Jackson? After all of the text messages, after all of the buffering for disappointment, has
Everything's
appeared.
falling apart. I probably got like 10 minutes, honestly.
Hell yeah!
Welcome, sir.
Let's use those 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna waste though. How is everything falling apart?
Yeah, what's going on, man? Talk us through it. We just care about you.
Tell me about your gamer chair.
Yeah, we do have questions about your gamer chair. Are you still using a gamer chair?
It's like the only other chair I have in this room. That's why
Yeah.
I bought like a whole bunch of stuff for my room, in the house in general.
What kind of gamer chair is it?
It was a present from my mom. What's this? S Racer, I guess it is. I don't know.
S Racer. Is it comfy?
Yeah, it's fine.
Do you ever like feel the need to stand up and kneel on it and like lean over the back of the chair? Scott told us that he does that to his chair earlier. So this is
mine's a full-on bucket seat. If you're not sitting straight up, you're just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
We said kneel to it. I mean,
Yeah,
like praying to it.
Or kneel before the chair.
Kneel before the chair in front of it. Namshin, you want to talk about video games?
I haven't played anything.
Come on, dude! Don't do you haven't even talked about Spelunky 2 on this podcast. That's how long it's been.
I'm saying I haven't played anything. I've been moving. I've been working, and like I'm on vacation, but like now everything's like backed up right now. Like I've got obligations. I got people I need to talk to in like 8 minutes. So
hell yeah!
If you want me to talk about like whatever I've been playing for 8 minutes, I can do that. But
what else you got? How do you feel about Microsoft buying Bethesda?
I think it's a wild thing. I think it's really cool. The only thing, like the only criticism I somewhat have about that, and I heard Max talk about this, and like it kind of spoke to me a little bit. It's like because they're doing the right thing, as far as like buying Bethesda, and as far as like making it like their own. Like the problem is, as far as like the aspect of looking at Microsoft, is like it's kind of like they're buying stuff to like bring up their portfolio, but they're not really making this stuff themselves.
Yeah, I've had this exact thought as well. Totally.
So it's like, sure, like when you make your PlayStation All Stars Royale for Xbox, sure, it's cool to have Doom Guy and Master Chief in the same place,
but they don't have lineage together, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's not like something like
Ratchet and Clank and Jack and Daxter and Sly Cooper.
Yeah. And then the other issue that I have here is, what is their track record with this?
Yeah, we don't know yet because
the only one that I know of is Minecraft.
Yeah, it's rare as well.
But
and then if you just take out Java Edition, you look at what's happening with Bedrock Edition, and it's like, okay, that's fine if you ignore the store.
But like also, you know, this is still pretty new. We don't really know. We don't have any kind of history to go off of how like Microsoft runs and operates their own studios. Like the most Mojang they've owned for what, like 6 years, right? In 2014 they bought them. And like that's clearly they're just doing whatever. They're doing their own thing, right? I don't think Microsoft has a lot of influence.
That's the thing. It's like they're doing 90% of their own thing.
Yeah.
But all things considered, if Microsoft was not involved, they would not have the Bedrock Edition store the way that it is.
Yeah, and I don't think they would maybe have as many ports and stuff of that game as they do.
Also with Microsoft, like with Bethesda and all, like me personally, like and like I've heard like other opinions which are actually like good opinions, are how they're feeling, like how this
your opinion's like, a good opinion too, I think.
Yeah. But like how like pretty much like if they're going to make these completely exclusive or like not at all. And like I talked to you a little bit about this.
Yeah,
so like I feel like the stuff like with Lineage, like your Fallouts and your Skyrim, even your Doom, like I could still see that being multi-platform because you know Microsoft has history with that, and like I think that makes sense to do that because those are things that I feel like are bigger than like I think it makes more sense, and I think it's like a bigger thing. Like cutting people off of that, it's kind of like Minecraft. Like, it's exactly like Minecraft. Even like there's such a bigger thing as far as like the gaming space in general that like everybody loves Fallout. As far as like the general masses, I should say,
Yeah.
the general masses really love Fallout. So like taking them away and making that just a platform exclusive is like, I feel like it's a bad call if they do that. Now if they want to do something like that with Starfield and make that exclusive, I think that's fine. I think that's like, like that's easy pickings because like it's a new IP. It's not really established yet. They can make it their own. They can make it just for the system.
Yeah,
I
they
think
can
that's
make that a
completely fine.
Microsoft game.
Yeah, and like with Obsidian, sorry, having their own like Skyrim like thing coming in soon too. So like they could be like that console for it. So like everyone will associate with that anyway. So like you're going to get your fans and you're going to get your people regardless. I feel, but like I just think it's just be a smarter call if they just like still make that like multi-platform.
What about like if a Dishonored 3 or a Dishonored Reboot or Prey 2 or something like that? Do you think those would be exclusive as well?
I don't think they're the same level as a Doom or a
Answer the
Skyrim.
question. Stop avoiding. Yes or no?
Um,
I think so. I think they would be. I think those more niche things would be exclusive. I think that's a good way to solidify Microsoft's first party titles as like, hey, we have variety and we also have these like from Dishonored. Like here's Arcane's next game. It's not as big as Doom, but it's exclusive and it's still cool.
like my only because like I don't think it's big enough, but like I also think that because it has lineage, like you can't really do that. It's Wolfenstein. Just like the third one, it's the end of the trilogy. Like it would be kind of crappy to like cut that off, but like I don't think it's like a Doom. Like I said, I don't think it's a Doom. I don't think it's an Elder Scroll. So like if they want to do that, they probably can if they wanted to.
And they're probably making another Wolfenstein game, aren't they?
See, it's so funny with Microsoft because like when they do this, it's like it's always the end of the world. Like with Tomb Raider, like a few years ago, and like they had the exclusive with Rise of the Tomb Raider, and everybody understood that like it was a time exclusive, but like it was the end of the world, and it's like why would you take away this centrally a PlayStation a PlayStation game?
There was a lot of like victim playing of PlayStation fans. I definitely remember of like this is a PlayStation thing, but I feel like if Sony did the same thing, like those same people would be like, well, no, this makes sense. Totally.
And like since we don't have that much time, like or I don't have that much time, but like I always try to think like a counterpoint, like how would Sony react to this, or like what's the equivalent if like if Sony tried to do something similar, like the next best thing, honestly, like the shooting for the stars, that the impossible thing would be something like Square Enix. I don't think that's going to happen, but like I think something that makes sense and like would be a really good gift for them would be something like Capcom.
Oh yeah, damn, that would make sense. Yeah,
Square Enix
Street Fighter is too much because of iOS, I think, but Capcom they could probably get away with.
Yeah, they already have a Street Fighter exclusivity. Pretty much all their games are like advertised on that system. Even Devil May Cry, which was Devil May Cry 5, which was
announced
advertised.
on the Xbox stage.
Yeah, now that the special edition come out, that's on PlayStation now. So
yeah,
like,
they got it back for that.
Yeah, so it's like,
but
that one
that's also coming to
sense,
Series X and Game Pass and stuff. So
yeah, but I'm just saying that would make the most sense for if they wanted to do something similar. But on the same point, like I've been saying, like it would be kind of shitty just like to take away those franchises from the system. But,
yeah, but like if they lock down like Resident Evil and Street Fighter and stuff like as exclusives, it's a big get. And I think a lot of people kind of gravitate to that platform for those games anyway.
Right. The thing is like when we talk about like gravitating something, or like I guess at the end of the day, it's like exclusivity is like sort of a shitty thing unless it's like made.
It's also kind of manufactured
already
to some extent. Like it's just Sony paid a bunch of money to have Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation, and now we think of Final Fantasy as a PlayStation thing, even though it was a Nintendo thing for a decade or like over a decade.
I also would say that it depends.
Yeah, it can
on
depend.
that front.
Everything's apples and oranges. Yeah.
Yeah, like Banjo,
not-
I'll never think of
right,
as an Xbox thing.
right. But this sort of comparison is more or less. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to bring the easiest comparison I've got is The World Ends With You to pretty much any minute of the DS. They did
Yeah.
it. It kind of didn't work that well.
Yeah, but they did
when
it.
They did it when they did it, but they did it, and it's like, it probably fine as an exclusive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You gotta go now, Mission, but thank you for jumping
Okay.
in.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm really-
it's okay. I'll not fuck up the schedule next week, and we'll do it normal. So
Don't put it on yourself, man.
It's all
Like
right.
it's all of us. It's all of our fault. It's Tony's fault. Let's just say that.
Whoa,
no,
he left. That's so mean.
that was brutal, Tony. No, it's not your fault. You're wonderful. Don't you even worry about it. How do you guys feel about taking a quick break? And then Scott, if you had more games to talk about, we can talk about them. And then I got a couple of things.
Listen, Nabishin, I have a response to that.
Yeah.
He says it's my fault. I would like for you to take a look at our text message history for the past like 7 years, where someone's like, "Hey, we need to do it on a different day," and I send a thumbs up emoji.
No, you always respond at least. I gotta
Like-
guess if Scott's gonna show up or not. You know.
Yeah, I'll be
90% of the time, if I'm not saying anything, I'm going to be there.
Yeah, I know. I
When
know.
I say,
You'll tell me
when
if
I
you're not
say,
gonna be
when
there.
I say something and you get the message, it's like, is he not going to be there?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just always aghast. Let's take a quick break then, and then I'll talk about some games, and we'll get out of here. So we will be back in just a little bit. All right, we're live again. People can see us.
Welcome back.
Hey everybody, welcome back to it's podcast time. Video games. I played some video games. Scott, are you sure you didn't play anything else?
I will talk a little bit more about Genshin Impact because we talked about me re-rolling, but we wouldn't have gotten to the conclusion of that.
Yeah. How'd it go?
It went exceptionally well.
Good.
To quote Tony, well, I asked him, "Hey, I got these 2 5-stars," which, considering the rates, I got 2 5-stars.
Yeah.
Within the reroll process. So there's that. I asked him which of these 2 5-stars. It's like, hey, these are just 2 5-stars. I have no idea how good they are or roughly what they do.
Of their worth.
Right. So it's like, here they are. Should I keep them because they're 5-stars, and re-rolling in this game is
It's time consuming.
Especially to get something that's of those grades. I just want to know if they were like good or if I should give it a couple more shots just in case. And he was like, "No, fuck no."
Don't re-roll.
Apparently, I have one is Diluc.
Yeah.
The other, I believe, I keep saying your name's Keyking, but apparently it's Kaching.
I don't know.
So
Nobody knows.
basically, it's a fire DPS unit and a lightning DPS unit. Apparently, Diluc is the best DPS unit in the game, currently out. Might change next time they release a character, but, you know. And then number 2, or at the very least, one of them that is up there is the other 5-star that I got. So that happened.
That's pretty
That
good.
was of like the thousands of people who are re-rolling accounts, and then the smaller subsection who are buying and selling those re-rolled accounts. The account that Scott got is the most desirable one that people would buy for like $200
Damn.
the first week. So yeah, it was a very good re-roll.
But it wouldn't even
two
get
mon-
$200. Wouldn't even get you a fucking 5-star, y'all.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
to give you a peek through the journey that I've had, considering as opposed to the one that I had before, I basically didn't have to upgrade any artifacts or weapons aside from the 3-star refinement one that I got because I just had I upgraded this 3-star to 5 stars, to refinement 5, and then I have like 12 more of those same 3 stars. So it was just one of those weapons I had, and that carried me through the entire game up until today, essentially. Well, technically yesterday I had to break that because I ran out of artifact room because I just haven't been doing it.
Yeah.
I haven't needed to upgrade or really change around artifacts. I would just throw random base stats on, and it would kind of work. And then I just had this level 1 refinement 5 3-star club.
Still pretty good though, right?
And then I was able to clear the content faster than my other account. Easy.
Good. I mean, I'm trying to think when I played with Mike earlier, we pulled a few times and it went abysmally poorly. About as poor as it could have gone, so I feel like I just have bad gacha luck. I don't have the magic touch with that. I think maybe
Me
you
either.
do, Scott.
Yeah, this isn't the first time it's happened. To be perfectly honest, when I went in and I did it for the tactics game, it went about the same way as well. That game's just bad, so I'm not playing it.
Yeah. Fair.
Like, I'll put it this way: if you think this system is bad, at the very least, you can kind of beat the game and go decently to a decent spot in the Spiral Abyss just with the free unit, or just with some of the free units and putting together kind of a random team.
Yeah.
Like, you can get past the first.
You can
14
play a
with
full
kind of a
video
random
game's worth of game.
team. So long as you no, this is end game content.
Yeah.
You can get through like that first section of the introduction of having 2 teams just by putting on decent artifacts that you can get right now and upgrading them as well as the weapons. You can do that.
Yeah.
For this other game, the tactics game, it is you roll the unit, fan-fucking-tastic, it's useless. It doesn't matter what you pull. It doesn't matter if it's the best unit of the game. If you want to use that unit, you have to have it somewhat leveled up, right?
Yeah.
To level that unit, you have to pull more of it.
Yeah, I see.
It's that like the material system to level up the units is not a bullshit time gain energy thing, although that's still a part of it in other ways. It's if you want to level up that unit to do stuff, you have to pull more of that unit.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
So it is the first time you get it, it is fucking useless. It can go up to level 30, and you cannot unlock most of its abilities.
The 12th time you get it, though, now we're talking.
Well, actually, I think it's a little more than that. Hold on a second. So, when you pull one, when you pull a dupe, you get 40 shards.
Yeah.
Okay. It takes 600 to not need them anymore.
Oh my gosh.
So 600 divided by 40 is 15. You need 15 pulls to
max out a character. That's pretty.
to max out the unit, and you need about 12 of them. Now that I'm taking a look at those numbers,
Yeah, that's a lot of pulls.
to make it so that they're relatively usable. Now, there's other ways that aren't pulling to get those shards, but to give you but you can get 2 shards per day, roughly, of any random unit. The other way. So let's just go back to that 600. Unless if you don't pull that unit anymore, right? You get to have that unit maxed in 300 days.
Jesus.
And now if you take it off the top, because that final stretch is 200, that's 200 days
Oh, good.
of because 200 off 600 takes it down to 400. 400 divided by 2 takes it down to 200 days.
Yeah.
That is to when the unit is usable.
I can see you also have thought a lot about the the Final Fantasy Tactics end of this thing.
It gives you all the information. So once you know the math that relatively surrounds it,
Mhm.
you can very easily, very easily do the math. It just takes 10 to 15 minutes to do.
Yeah.
So when you have to scrounge through piles and piles of data to try and say, okay, this is roughly what the rates are, because they're not telling you,
Mhm.
that's when it becomes a nightmare to do, and it used to be like that, but it's not anymore.
Yeah, because that's because laws and regulations I think caught up with it, which is good.
Right. And that stuff is on top of the game not being very good.
Yeah. Yeah, at least Genshin is fun to play.
Right.
Anything else, Scotty?
No.
Okay.
The league came out with Earth again, and Earth is Earth.
Yeah.
It's fun for a little bit because of some of the dumb stuff that's funny to watch happen. But other than that, it's really not a very good game mode.
I played some video games then. I played.
Tell me about them.
I played more Sly 4. That's like my super, because I'm playing Hades and Spelunky pretty much back to back, and those are very intense games. So Sly 4 is my like, not a lot's happening. I'm jumping and hitting the circle button a lot in this game, and that's really it. And just kind of moving up and down, occasionally fighting a boss fight. It has been really fun revisiting that game. Man, I remember not even thinking a lot about that game the year it came out, which is 2013. Same year the PS4 came out, and Last of Us and many other video games that I probably thought about a lot more. But wow, that game is just, one, it's gorgeous, and two, it's really great. I think it's just a much better follow-up, like many years later sequel by another studio to a trilogy that they remastered than I thought it was. It's been great to replay that. I don't have any like big takeaways. I'm trying to remember how it ends, and I haven't gotten there yet, so we'll see. I also played a lot of Hades this week. I've made some progress. I don't play like too much of that game in a row, because I feel like like that's a game that's fun in short bursts for me. But I definitely still favoring the spear. I did really well with the bow again with a kind of different configuration. I had like this setup where I upgraded the bow where you just hold the button and it rapidly attacks. And then I had a bunch of Artemis upgrades, which I feel like that weapon and her go hand in hand. It's just like every time you crit on an enemy adjacent to it gets marked. Every time you hit a marked enemy, like 3 other enemies get marked or something like that, you know? So I was just like getting massive critical hits over and over and over again. That felt really good.
I don't remember that particular configuration. It's possible because I haven't gotten every single one of Artemis's things yet. But for the general marked one that I've always come across, it's when you crit an enemy, it's marked.
Yeah.
And then marked enemies have a higher % chance to get crit.
Yeah.
So there's probably one that spreads it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to me? Because I think I've read something along those lines.
There's definitely one where it's like when you crit on an enemy, an adjacent enemy gets marked, which I thought was cool. Because it lets you go from one enemy to the next in a cool way.
Right. Did you die in Elysium again?
I died in Elysium. I have not made it past Elysium still.
So here's the issue with that particular build.
Mm-hmm.
It's the shield guys again, isn't it?
No, I mean like I died on the boss with that build in Elysium, and I got pretty deep. That was like the best I had done on the boss there.
So for that particular boss, you're killing the Minotaur guy first.
I'm
right?
definitely trying to kill that Minotaur first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. The less damage you do to the other guy, the better. If you get him to half health, he will start. He will get aided by the gods too.
Okay, I'm full focus fire on the Minotaur. So.
And then the other thing is,
I had a run where I like ran into the Minotaur like 3 rooms before the boss, and I beat him there. But I didn't get to the boss. I died.
That's good practice, but for ranged builds, you need some sort of deflection or invincibility.
Yeah. I didn't have any.
It's kind of true for melee builds as well, but melee builds generally get the bonus from. They get bonus in mobility.
Mm-hmm.
So going into attack and then going on defensive is just that much more quick. I'll say.
Yeah.
Like there's less of an animation downtime between those.
I'm still like I'm very much in a much more experimental phase than I was, because like after listening to you talk about it last week, I definitely went and tried a lot of different stuff that I had not tried, and I unlocked the thing where you can upgrade your weapons, which I had not been able to do yet. Mm-hmm. So I started upgrading. I saw like what each weapon could do, and I thought, like, I genuinely sat down and was like, all right, what do I kind of want to sit with for more? And I still went with the spear, but I also upgraded the sword, and I tried that out a couple of times, and so I've done a lot more runs, I'll say, since the last time we talked about it. But yeah, I'm like genuinely having a good time experimenting and learning all the different gods' kind of addendum powers and trying to mix and match them in fun ways after hearing some of your kind of combinations that you did last time. It's cool. It is very very much enjoyable in that regard. Plus it's such a different kind of roguelike versus Spelunky. It is hitting like a lot of different factors for me.
And then the only other thing is, as a last ditch effort, if you can't find anything that deflects, because what ends up happening with the Minotaur is dodging his melee strikes is a little easy.
Yeah.
It's not a problem until his melee strikes turn into ranged shockwave strikes.
Yeah, that's when
it get dicey.
That's when it started getting dicey for me.
Just things that deflect will deflect those beams.
The shockwaves.
Yes,
it's good to know.
Burning invincibility at that time, either from Athena or Poseidon, is also very good. So if you get those calls, like that is the fight that makes them worth taking. That and Athena's invincibility is very good on Hades as well.
Yeah.
But before then, they're kind of like dead weight.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely not gotten that far yet. So.
So the other thing you can do is you take, what is her name? One of Aphrodite's weak spells.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
what this, in absence of those things, what this is going to do is this is going to say, hey, you do 30% damage, less damage to me.
Yeah, I've also been using a little bit of Dionysus. He makes things weak as well, or drunk.
Dionysus is a poison.
Oh yeah,
They call it hangover, but it's
yeah,
it's
yeah.
effectively just a poison.
Poison.
His stuff is pretty good. I would say that as attack stuff, I don't like it that much.
Okay.
Simply because most other things do more damage than his poison.
Yeah, fair. Like Doom and stuff like that.
Doom does more damage than his poison over time, even when poison is max stacked. Aphrodite's base attack increase ends up netting you more damage. The only thing that does less damage would be Zeus's shock bounce attacks. But even then, at that point, you're not taking it for the extra damage on a single unit, and it's going to be doing more damage the second it bounces.
Yeah, across multiple units.
To plus 1 unit. So it's one of those things where all the other stuff that he has is pretty good. And even like as a dash, the hangover stuff on the dash is, I would say, much better than Hades' dash.
Yeah.
But for example, and it's also better than Athena's dash, because at that point you have iframes on your dash anyway, and if you're trying to run it, dodge into something to reflect it, generally gonna hurt you more than it's gonna save you.
Yeah. I'm excited to tinker with it more, but I'm still just like I'm happy at the pace I'm playing it, which is good. I'm not frustrated or anything with it.
Yeah, I binged the hell out of that game. Not gonna lie though.
Yeah, fair. I played so Crash Bandicoot 4: It's About Time came out. Our bet is about it, but I actually I was kind of into it. I was into the idea of it certainly, but I bought it. I was here for whatever they were gonna pull for whatever kind of high definition Bandicoot action I could get myself into. And this stems from the when the remaster came out, the remakes of the first 3 games. I actually went back and enjoyed those games in a way I don't think I ever enjoyed the games originally. Not just because of how they looked. I think it was just like, I kind of see what this is all about a little bit more. So jumping into Crash 4, it's cool. I like the adaptation. It's funny playing like Sly 4 and Crash 4 because, very similar story, so close to one another. And I think they are similarly very good, even great at times. Like some people compared Crash 4 to Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and a lot of people put that up on a pedestal as like a very, very good platformer, which it is. I've not finished it, so I can't speak to how crazy it gets. But Crash 4 is the level design is a lot more detailed. The levels are way longer, and that's going to kind of play into the bet in a way that kind of surprised me a lot. Because the original Crash levels aren't like short by any means, but they're not super long. But these feel like that. Like the first level in this game feels like 3 separate levels all in one. And it's not a bad thing. It's cool. They feel more like they could tell a story kind of environmentally through it. You're kind of going through areas, and it feels like you're actually kind of going through a part of an area. And I like it because it goes back to the original Crash Bandicoot format of like you're at a world map and you're kind of going from level to level. It seems linear. You're going through it linearly, but I don't know. I just played through the first 2 worlds. I had a very good time with it. I'm excited to play more as soon as Spelunky maybe like lets go of my soul a little bit. But yeah, as far as like payoff on that idea of let's remake the first 3 games and then like actually make a sequel to them, this is pretty good. And I think people who like those games will not walk away dissatisfied from this. But the other thing I've been playing is Spelunky 2. The only other thing I've been playing that's been eating my soul. I think it's slowly killing me, actually, with how horribly it treats me and abuses me and hurts me. But it's also one of those things where I'm just kind of into it, so I keep coming back for more. But yeah, I've played a lot of that game. I think I've probably played more of that game than Persona 5 Royal at this point, which is over 256 hours. It's a lot. But I made a lot of progress. You know, I talked last week, and that was, I think that was week 2 of sitting down with it and seeing like where all the secrets go and how everything works. Now that I've pretty much fully, I think I have a full understanding of everything that is in Spelunky 2, at least that we know about. It seems like there's maybe shit that people haven't even figured out yet, which is really exciting. But I don't know if there's an update on that at all. But I have there are 2 kind of full paths through the game. They're not. I at first last week I thought like one was kind of the full path through the end, and the other was like a full path through a different end. But no, they both kind of go to the same place, and you can kind of mix and match the kind of alternate worlds that you take, and that will actually produce different results. Like if you go to the lava caves and free a character there, and then kind of go cross paths into the Temple of Anubis and go to the temple, that'll actually open up a new area, the like alien mothership, which is cool. And it's very specific things you still have to do to make that happen, and actually getting there is fucking nuts. But it's like, oh wow, like there is a reward for kind of mixing and matching up these things, and maybe there's stuff for going like to, I guess it would be the jungle and then going to the tide pool. Maybe there's something there. I that's usually the path that I take actually now, but I'm trying to get to the secret world. I know how to get to the secret world. I've gotten there twice. I've gotten to what you need to do in the final moment to get there, and I fucked it up both times. And I'll tell you boys what, there is nothing worse. There is no feeling worse than that. I really don't think there is. But it's you know, it's a tricky thing. You kind of have to pull off a tricky maneuver in a way that the first game never really had you do. But there's a lot of shit in this game that the first game never even really came close to doing. So it's cool, and I'm hopefully, now that I'm feeling a little bit better, I will resume my weekly streams this coming week, and maybe we'll make it to the Sunken City someday. But yeah, Spelunky 2 is great. It's that game is great. They've patched that game, I think, like 8 times since it came out, which is very interesting. I'm curious, so, you know, because the first game only got one really major update, which was an update that added like the reduced HUD and kind of cleaned a couple of things up. But they've definitely been touching up that game as time goes on. So I'm curious if there is maybe a more perfected version of this game to come. But it's always interesting, the stuff that they change. It's stuff that I would have never even thought about. So I'm excited to see how this game ends up, and if there is going to be anything major added to it in the future. It doesn't need it, I don't think. I'm just curious. But yeah, those are the video games I've been playing. Spelunky 2 is very fucking good. And I'm very happy it's real. That's it. I think that's the podcast. I was getting my bets ready for our future segment coming up in a moment. But real quick, if you'd like to be a part of the show, now that we're hopefully going to be back on a regular schedule, I'm not
no talk about news this week.
Is there any news that happened?
I mean, at the very least, we could talk about the Steve reveal.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Just as a follow-up.
That was like right after last week's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Steve is in fucking Smash Brothers, which is funny, and like people were so disappointed.
His moveset is like a tournament viable villager. I'll put it that way.
Yeah,
because it's he puts down blocks, he mines stuff. That stuff, when upgraded to diamonds, is extremely powerful. He plays like a decently fast character.
Yeah.
His attack range, although short, is very fast and very wide. So I think he can very easily be a scrapper, and his his edge and zoning game is miles above anybody else's because he can place blocks.
A lot of people were bummed out about this, but I was like, yeah, this honestly was the one that I kind of expected the most, the least surprised by. Minecraft's humongous. Minecraft's like the biggest video game outside of like a couple other exceptions. So yeah, I don't know.
There is some worry about how exactly they would do it, but all things considered, I'd say they did it right.
Yeah, I feel like if you're gonna do a Minecraft character, you got to do it in the style of Minecraft. Like,
and they managed to do it.
Yeah. And Sakurai was... I love the video of him, like, revealing this is the fucking funniest because he's just got this, I am so over this. Nintendo said, you could put Minecraft in Smash, right? Like, it's... He literally says, like, it sounds so easy. And it's like, clearly this dude is fucking over it. He's like, all right, but the next character I'm going to fucking choose. You guys can have Steve or whatever, but I'm going to choose somebody next time. So, yeah, I thought, you know, this is probably the last character we're going to get this year, unless something happens at the Game Awards. And, yeah, it's fine. Get Steve out of the way. I'm not excited about Steve, but I think it's cool that he's in there.
Like, listen, I'll put it this way. If you ever had any fun messing around on Villager or Isabel and any of the games, you'll have fun with it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try him out.
Just do... How would I put this? Be as dumb as you would on Villager when you're trying to be dumb.
Always.
And then you'll take a look at it and you say, oh, well, wait a second. That's way stronger than I expected it to be.
Yeah. I'm curious to try him out.
You saw the whole thing, right?
Yeah, I watched the unveil. I didn't watch the breakdown that he did afterwards.
Okay, so you saw his... Did you see him blocking... Oh, so no, if you didn't see the breakdown, then you wouldn't have seen that.
Yeah.
So if you didn't see... so he can place blocks anywhere he goes. Just right under his feet. You're out in the middle of nowhere, falling off the stage, just place a block there.
Nice.
So if you don't need to use up B to get back to the stage, if you have enough blocks, it just builds your way back up.
Wow.
So so long as you are out of... I'll put it this way. So long as you air cancel your disorientation, you can put a block down under you.
That's cool.
And if that's not enough to carry your momentum, or the friction on the ground is not enough to carry your momentum to not get you out, you can do it again. And that probably will be.
Yeah, that's cool.
So he has that kind of recovery. He has the Elytra, which is the glider wings.
Yeah.
So it's a very horizontal-based thing. And just like in Minecraft, you can kind of go down, gain momentum, and then go back up.
Yeah, cool.
So forth. But on top of that, you have a crafting bench, which you can build your tools with. This includes the sword that you get, which all your weapons can break, and how you would pick Pikmin and on Olimar is how you would gain materials.
Got it. That's cool.
And it matters what surface you gather materials on.
Yeah.
So if you're playing on what is it, Lilac Cruiser ship?
Yeah, Lilac Cruise. That's one of them.
Lilac Cruise. That's the Star Fox one, right?
Yeah.
So you are pretty much getting an iron set base drops. If you gather on, let's say, Donkey Kong stage, which is all wood, you get mostly wood base drops.
Mm-hmm.
So on and so forth. The random element aside from that is completely taken out of the game. So you are guaranteed the set of items you get.
That's cool, though.
Pretty much every match.
That's cool. Like, the level determines. I remember I saw somebody tweeting about how Sakurai had to kind of retrofit all the levels to work for Steve, and now I know why. That's cool, though.
And then on your... I'll call them Final Destination stages because I forget what else they call them.
Yeah.
It's all preset. There is no predefining your what you gather on based on what you're standing on, because it's all the Final Destination flat level.
Yeah, smart.
On top of that, different types of blocks that you pick up have different types of durability when you place them down.
That makes sense.
they do, in fact, you can, in fact, after you launch somebody off a stage, just build a wall.
Oh, so,
So
they
they
can't
can't
get
get
back
back
up.
up.
That's incredibly fucked up, but I love it.
So what they did in the preview is that they launched the Pichu off the stage, jumped off the stage, and then built a 3-block wall so Pichu couldn't use the up B to recover.
That's awesome.
They just ran straight into the wall and fell down.
What a cool.
And just furthermore, if you launch somebody that far down and just put a block a little over the edge, they can't grab onto the ledge.
Leave it to Sakurai to make such an interesting mechanical character. It was such a trolling character too, though. Of course.
There's also an anvil grab, or the grab is a little interesting as well. Let's start with that. It's a fishing rod grab.
Oh yeah.
So there's that. And then once they're stuck in a little fence. Or like just
I think I saw this.
So you saw that portion, and when you down smash on them, they get an anvil dropped on them. For reference, getting an anvil dropped on you, if you don't have any sort of protection in Minecraft, is pretty much just dying.
Yeah, that sounds like death.
So it does a lot of damage, does a lot of launch power, costs iron to use.
I'm probably gonna watch this.
He's a very, very in-depth character.
Yeah.
With a lot of, he's a very, very in-depth character that is very trolly like the villager. But at the same time, his kit allows him to be like regularly used, like as if you're trying to play to win.
Yeah. Totally.
So he's, as far as an addition to the game, he's good all around.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what folks do with him, as per usual. Was there any other news, Tony? It sounded like you were going to say something.
I was going to say we could briefly touch on some hardware reveals that happened this week.
Yeah, what happened?
AMD's Ryzen chipsets, new Zen 3 architecture was revealed this week. It puts anything Intel has done recently into its fucking grave.
Damn.
Yep, pretty much.
Really?
The base number is 35% faster than the previous Ryzen chip. The core clocks are competitive with Intel's. I don't remember if they beat it by a little bit or not. But the raw deal is, across all tests, the general consensus is beyond Intel's thing that they would throw up against it, it is 20% faster.
Damn.
For CPUs, the general increase is like 10.
That's a lot. It's a big deal, though, right? Because isn't Intel usually in the lead of these kinds of things?
They're generally in the lead of the raw performance deal, especially in the clock deal, so in the single core clocks. So what they get to do with that is they're like, yeah, the AMD has some good chips for other stuff, which AMD does have good chips that for the multi-core purposes. Mm-hmm. But for things like gaming, clock speed is what more directly affects your frame rates, more than having a ton of cores to do extra processing.
Yeah.
Because the GPU is generally taking care of most of that extra processing.
Does this mean you're switching over, Tony?
I was talking to this guy. I mean, I need to buy a new motherboard anyway, so when I do, I think I will switch to a Ryzen. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and then same, but I'm assuming that's not going to happen for a little bit because, again, when I go ahead and I change out kind of one part of this system, my whole setup kind of needs to change. Because as of right now, for the monitors that I have and for the games that are coming out for the next few years, what I have is going to be fine.
Yeah.
I'd have to turn down the settings on some, and a good chunk of the new settings are coming out with don't apply to the monitors that I have, as far as color goes.
Yeah.
So, so given the fact that I have to dump $1,500 in new monitors, to make use of any sort of upgrade I have. Is putting a dampening on that.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. Although, you know, like, I'm also in the camp of, like, ready for new consoles guy over here. Oh, my Xbox broke this week also. I forgot to mention that. It bricked. I don't know what happened. If I have to guess, like, you know, it tried to update and then crashed, and then I tried to do the thing where you force an update over a USB, and it gave me an error that just basically means hardware error. This needs to be fixed. If I had to guess, I bet like the hard drive's fried or something. But that was a bummer. But it was a nice realization of like, oh, you know, I'm going to get a Series X in a month, and everything that I own is just going to show up on that. So, and like all the discs, all the discs that I have, I can just put in and we'll work on that. So it's like, okay, this isn't actually that big a deal.
The save data getting lost kind of sucks. But given that you're thinking that it's probably a hard drive error.
I had to guess. I looked up a video of how to fix it, and I was like, do I want to buy all the tools to do this? No, I don't. So, but
yeah,
that's just a guess too. It's not. It gives a non-specific error, so I'd have to look into it to see if it's maybe like a processor, or GPU, or whatever. Who knows? But it's $250 to get it fixed. I'm like, that's half the cost of a new Xbox, so I'm just gonna wait for that.
And probably more than what you'd pay to sell it.
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
So you're not even gonna break. If you got to repair it, you wouldn't even break even.
Yeah.
Selling it back.
Yeah. So it's just take the bite. It sucks, but it's fine. I have cloud saves on all my stuff. You know, I'm not losing anything. Essentially, it's just I don't have an Xbox for the next month, which is not a big deal. But yeah, that happens.
Yeah, right, because right now you're playing Spelunky on the
Yeah, exactly. Spelunky could not have come out at a more opportune time. It's like Spelunky on that, Hades on my Switch, and that's keeping me busy, plenty busy right now. I think that's it for news then. Real quick, if you want to be a part of the show, you can email us mailsack@irrationalpassion.com. Voicemails go to 404-590-1337. Please don't sell us stuff. But standard long distance fees do apply. And send your tweets at @IrrationalPod. #IPQ makes them easier for me to find. Other stuff to note, you can follow all of us and the show in general on Twitter @IrrationalPod. That's where all the Irrational Passions updates go. Myself and Nabishin are on Twitter as well, and we use that. @Alfighter27 is me. NABESHIN186 is Nabishin. Check out our video stuff. It's over on Twitch and YouTube. Just look for Irrational Passions. Specifically on YouTube, we got some viewpoints up, some video reviews coming up. That Genshin Impact viewpoints will be up soon. Probably Tuesday or Wednesday or something. And on Twitch, hopefully my return to Spelunky streaming will come this week, and maybe some more stuff. So we'll look forward to that. And then rate and review us wherever you listen, whether it's Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever you like. And for everything else, Irrational Passions, irrationalpassions.com. It's time for bets. It's the end of the show.
Bets.
We're here. This week's bet. Did I write it down there? I did, and I didn't write it down on my phone. This time next week, we're playing off of a little of like, I'm curious how long this fad is going to last. And we're in October. It's spooky season. Who knows? People like scary games. This time next week, how many viewers on Twitch will Phasmophobia have? Y'all check out this Phasmophobia.
I've seen mentionings of people that I watch on Twitch playing it, but I have not seen it.
Yeah, so I checked earlier this afternoon around 2 o'clock. It had 48,000 viewers on Twitch as a game, which is I would say a pretty good amount. It's a hot new 4-player cooperative horror video game. This basically is, do you think the popularity will go up between this week and next, or will it go down? So 48,000 is that baseline. How many viewers will it have this time next week, Tony?
Well, hold on. First of all, for this time this week.
Okay, yeah. What's that this time?
89,000.
89. Okay, so it went up a significant amount from the afternoon to the evening.
That I didn't want to mislead you guys, so
no, that's
so
good.
You know. The late night crowd for this game is twice as large.
Yeah, so we're probably going to be recording Saturday of next week, if everything goes well. But either way, weekend evening time. What do you think?
45,000.
Okay, I like it. I'm going to say 106,000.
Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia. It means a fear of ghosts.
Yeah, I've seen some of this.
I'm gonna say 106K.
I definitely don't think it's gonna go up high. I think it's gonna stay similar. So I'm gonna say.
Nobishin bets 0. I'm
I'm
betting
gonna
for
say-
him.
Got it.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be closer to 60K.
Cool. Watch it get
I
banned
think
from
that's
Twitch.
fair. If you're not on the podcast, you bet 0,
It gets
regardless of what the
it
bet
gets
is.
banned from Twitch, and Nobishin gets it right because it has 0 viewers.
It's not going to happen.
No,
but
it's not. That would be so funny though. Last week's
0
bet.
actually, with your guys' bets, 0 doesn't have a terrible chance of winning.
No, I
So,
feel like you or Scott's
It'd
probably
be
got it.
anywhere between 0 and 22,000.
Yeah. Last week's bet. How many jumps minimum will be required to beat the first level in Crash Bandicoot 4? I said 16. Scott said 2. Tony said 12. Here's the thing. These levels are very long, like I said earlier. Roughly, I would say... And I looked at some videos of people like trying to do it very quickly. And I didn't count like double jump as 2 jumps. I didn't do any of that shit. It's just one single jumps. If you leave the ground, it's 1 jump. I don't care if you somersaulted in the air or whatever.
Sure.
It's about like 40. It's
Long
like,
ass level.
yeah, it's really long.
Now, is this a point where it's if you just don't jump, you will die to you just fall?
There's a lot of stairs that you have to jump up. And there's they're like big, they're like crash-sized stairs, so you have to do a full jump to get up them. And there's a lot of ascension, so there's like the whole last part of the level is you're kind of going on this 2D map, and going up and up and up. So yeah, there's a lot of jumping. So I had 16, so I had the most. So I actually won. Not that it means anything, I promise. That brings
I thought it would be more like the first one, where it's like, oh hey, there's a couple of pits here, jump over.
Yeah, there are
And then
definitely
bam.
levels like that, but not the first level. That brings my point total to 4.
I'm happy to see you getting some points.
So this is my first point in like 6 months, and I'm pretty stoked about it. Nobishin still has the lead with 13 points, Scott with 7 points, and Tony 10 points. My 4 feels very proud right now.
Hell yeah.
I'd have to look up when I won last, because man, it's been a while. That's it. That's the show. Thanks everybody for hanging out, for watching. Thanks to the folks in the chat that were watching along. Nicole Humphrey, as always, hanging out and chatting along while she listens. And thank you all out there for just being wonderful. Thank you, Scott, Tony, Nobishin, for joining me as always. Even though Nobishin can only be here for 10 minutes.
Best 10 minutes of the show.
Yeah, it's true. Everyone go back and listen to just Nobishin's talking. He's great. Thank you to Danny Wiesner for our opening music of 2-Player Co-op and our closing music of The World Is Saved. Also a great dude. And thank you all for listening. I've been your host, Alex O'Neill. Play your games, stay irrational. We will talk to you all next week.
Titles?
Titles.
We got Genshin Cheap Pact, Divinity Chaos, Losing Ourselves to the Virtual World, Scott's Account, Most Desirable, and Blame Tony.
I had to put something Nobishin said in there. Tony's just pissed now. Fuck this. What do you like, Tony?
I like Divinity Chaos.
Yeah. It's very true of what that experience of that game is. What do you like, Scott?
That's the best part too.
Yeah, I like Divinity Chaos as well.
Cool. I will say the episode number, and then one of you gents can say the title. How about that?
Scott's doing it.
You're listening to the Irrational Passions Podcast, episode 484.
Divinity Chaos.
Good read on that. Thank you all so much for hanging out. We love you. Bye.
Scott, can I get one with like
I wouldn't know how to make that angry.
make it angry?
I brought us back
on.
because I want to hear this.
Like, like if it were Divinity bullshit, I could do it.
Don't think about it. Just do
But,
it.
like, chaos is generally like.
Just
good
be
thing,
angry
at
and
least
say
in my-
Divinity
Yeah, dude,
Chaos.
Just be angry.
Listen, man, it's hard.
Divinity Chaos.
All right,
That's
Alex,
pretty
give me a sad one.
Divinity Chaos.
Okay, now give me one where with like full of longing.
Divinity Chaos. I don't know.
It's more sinister than full of longing.
I mean, my longing is sinister.
All right, well, we've learned something today. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah,
guys.
all right. Now I'm taking us offline.